Okay, next fight is the first loss. I want to talk about it in more detail because I actually made quite many mistakes. So the initial engagement, I actually wanted to go after the Jogdo inside the complex, but when I noticed that Confessor is about to land, so I correctly stopped my ship and waited for the Confessor to land. You cannot really go in the complex when someone is about to land outside because this is just way too much risk for being ganked. You need to clarify the situation on the outside before you commit on the inside. Confessor lands at I think it was like 70, but because I'm positioned not exactly at 0, it's like 60. As a general rule, if the ship lands at like 30, I'm talking about like frigate against against destroyer, something like this. If a ship lands at 30, you always want to commit in these cases. If it's 50, it's like borderline. Sometimes you want, sometimes you don't. And if it's like 60, 70, you generally want to avoid it. But I decided to commit. Mostly because I had pretty fresh links and I was pretty confident that I will very quickly catch up to Confessor. Here a couple of important bits. So firstly, this is a beam Confessor. You can see it here or here. And secondly, this is a Tenorman Confessor. So this is the velocity that's typical for Tenorman. Too fast for 1-man and too slow for 5-man. Tenorman Confessors are quite tricky in like these situations because even if you have double webbed, they will still slowly burn away from you. You will see it in the future. So in this specific feat, I will have to occasionally activate my macro warp drive to keep up. All of this is not a problem, but you need to kind of adjust your typical approach to these fights and do a couple of actions that may be not completely intuitive, and I completely miss them for some reason. So firstly, I should have used null, simply because you are never going to keep the Tenorman destroyer in general, and Confessor in particular, in the void range. Just not going to happen. You will not apply sufficient DPS in with a void. You need null. And you will see that I shoot him, I think for the entire fight, I shoot him with void, and I apply literally 0 DPS. Like, I don't know what was wrong with me. Like, you can see. This is just like 0 DPS all the time. Second, this fight probably will be relatively long because the mitigation on Tenorman ships are pretty high, and you will mostly apply drone DPS and a little bit of blaster DPS. So this will take a while. This will take a long time. You need to maximize the cap efficiency. So you need to hit the rep immediately, because heated rep gives you more hit points per units of cap. And you need to at least activate and probably hit your Nosferatu as well. And for some reason, I don't know what was wrong with me, but I did not activate Nosferatu like for the first like 20 or 30 seconds of a fight. And I never heated it as well. And third, which is slightly more advanced, is that even if you activate the macro warp drive, you need not to activate it on approach vector. You need to activate it on the same movement vector as the Tenorman ship. So the reasoning is this. So let's say Confessor is moving this way. And like you are moving, you are somewhere here, and you are trying to catch up. If you click approach, you will catch up, and then you will bump him to go even faster. And your own speed will be almost zero. You can see this right here. Like I just bumped him. So my speed is zero, and he just keeps going. And the correct way is not to click approach, but to click double click in space on the same movement vector as your opponent. And in this case, you just activate your macro warp drive for one cycle, and then you overtake your opponent. But it's fine, because 10 ships cannot turn. So you will get like this amount of time in your optimal. And when he will catch up to you, and when you will get at least the same amount of time in the optimal while he is just flying past you. And I did not do it here as well. So what's happening in the end is that I run out of cap, because I need to activate my macro warp drive. I need to permanently rep. You cannot really escape DPS against 10 ships. And it's just not possible with Nosferatu. Like this Nosferatu feat, it works only if you have an afterburner, or if your fight lasts like less than like 1.5 minutes. But here it was a bit longer. And yeah, it was completely winnable, by the way. With null, with correct positioning, with better cap management, it was winnable. In general, like tech-free destroyers are quite tricky, but this specific one was completely winnable. Okay, this is actually the third. I think this is the third Ishkur. Yeah, it's the third Ishkur. The second one I lost immediately. I didn't get anything. And here I use Afterburner, Double Web, and Null. And here it's the fight against, I think, very tanky Navy Catalyst with small ancillary rep and other stuff. And again, you see like a problem. I have to scrum kite in blaster ship. I cannot like go and brawl against Navy Catalyst. It's not the way to do it. And you can see how long it takes to kill a tanky Navy Destroyer, even like Navy Catalyst. Against Navy Cormorant, it would have taken way longer, and I think it actually would be problematic on cap. Like even here, I already learned that I need to hit my Nosferatu and activate it early, and that I need to hit my rep as well. But even here, you see that I'm getting a bit low on cap, because of course I'm not in the optimal range of Nosferatu, so I don't get as much cap back as I need to make it work properly. Yeah, so I either have to go a bit closer, or I need to stop repping. But yeah, even in these situations, of course you win either way. It's just by design. These matchups, you just win them. But it's just so inefficient. Okay, here again, I wanted actually to go after the Garmur, but the Punisher landed at the same time. So as I said, like this run was like the bunch of coincidences. I had like 3 or 4 situations where I landed on Plex and someone else lands on me as well. Of course, I quickly kill the Punisher. It's not really the interesting bit. And then I go after the Garmur. Like if you don't have links, don't even bother against against the Garmur, you are just never going to catch the Garmur. I don't know what am I doing here. Like, why am I shooting the wreck? But okay, anyways. Yeah, but I still have like 30 seconds of links by the time I land inside the Plex. And with links, it depends a bit. Like, you are not gonna catch like a properly fitted pallet Garmur in any case, even with links. But like some bad Garmur on auto orbit, maybe you can. And I just click to intercept his movement vector, but he plays it extremely safe. He never even comes closer than 22 kilometers. Like typically Garmurs want to, like when they see that you are macro warp drive anti-kiter, they just immobilize you by scramming you. So they just orbit at like 15, 16, and they just put a scram on you and you can't do anything. But this Garmur was like super risk averse. And of course, if you fly like this against an anti-kiter, you are never going to get a kill. You're just not gonna control your opponent. So I don't even care. Like, I don't warp out because I know that I cannot really lose this fight. I cannot win it, but I cannot lose it. Just judging from the Paladin, and he just warps out almost immediately. The next one, the next one, again, I want to go after this Garmur. This is like maybe like 20-30 minutes later. I want to go after this Garmur, and when a Catalyst lands at the same time again on the same Plex. So I'm like, okay, I will just kill a Catalyst, I guess. And by the time I wrapped my ship and returned, he already finished the Plex, and he was gone. So no Garmur kills today. And I think the last fight, I will just make it faster. And the last fight, again, is pretty instructive. It's against Navy Scythe. Okay, I will pause here. This one is quite tricky. It's winnable. Again, it was winnable with perfect piloting on my side, but it's much more difficult when fighting against like Navy Executor. For two reasons. First, Navy Scythe has selectable damage, and it can be a rapid light missile fit. So you need to be aware of that. And second, Navy Scythe always has a newt. It has a utility high, and the fit works in a way that you always fit a newt. If it's a close range fit, you always fit a newt. It can be a small newt or it can be a medium newt. It depends on the fit, but it will always have a newt if it's like a proper fit. And the newt makes fighting against a cruiser much more difficult, of course. So, okay, first thing, I refitted into a specific like anti-cruiser fit. I actually, I probably should have just fitted the cap booster, I guess, but I didn't have this specific refit with me. I only carried tracking disruptors and a macro warp drive at that time. But I added it as you saw in the beginning of the video. So I only had tracking disruptor. And of course you don't need double webs because you will have a massively higher control. So out of the refits that I had, you go with a tracking disruptor and you disrupt on tracking. Not on optimal, but on tracking. So I land and the Scythe is 24 kilometers away. So first thing you need to check in this specific situation, because I'm in an afterburner fit, I cannot fight against a kiter. I need to make sure that this is not a kiter, but this is like a brawler. So I check the guns first. And the guns are 425 millimeter autocannons. So this should be like probably a brawler. It's unlikely that this is a kiter. So I commit. If you see something that you don't like, you can simply warp out, because a cruiser is not gonna have enough scan rest to tackle you. You can always warp out. So you check, and if you like what you see, you engage, and if you don't like what you see, you just warp out. I get the Scrum Web, and I get on the tight orbit, and I check if it's a small newt or if it's a medium newt. It is a medium newt. You can see here, medium, compact energy neutralizer. And it's indeed 425 millimeter autocannon. So next, this is gonna be tough. Like, I don't know, I had another brain fart. I will explain what happened here. So you will be neuted out very quickly against a medium newt, and you cannot scrum kite. Like, you can scrum kite against small newt outside of Newton range, but you cannot scrum kite against medium newt, because medium newt covers the entire scrum range. So you just need to commit at a close range, and you need to like survive against medium Newton. I have a Nosferatu, which means that I will be able to run Afterburner, web, guns for most of the time, and Track and Disruptor. Well, I do not really need Track and Disruptor here. I will mitigate all the damage anyways. From the guns, I mean. So my win condition is to kill all the drones before I run out of cap, because I cannot repair all the time. And drones will constantly damage me. So as soon as I kill all the drones, I take 0 damage, because the guns on Navy Scythe will not track me. And for some reason, I thought that Navy Scythe has like 10 drones or something like this, and I thought, yeah, I just will not be in time. And while I have hobgoblins mostly against me, but it should be okay. So it's better when to fight against like warriors, for example. I will just let him have these hobgoblins, and hopefully I will be able to get a cycle of my rep now and then to keep me kind of repped up against the drone damage. No, it does not work. I don't know why I thought about it, but no, it's not a win condition. I could indeed like get an occasional cycle, you will see, but the cap pressure is so high. Like, if you have to run your rep even occasionally, the cap pressure is so high that you will start losing web, afterburner, guns constantly. It just doesn't work. And especially if you lose like an afterburner and the web, he can minimize transversal, and then you start eating even more damage. So it was just, yeah, it was just bad decision making. I don't know what happened here. But again, it was winnable. Like, if I primaried the drones immediately, I think I had enough time to kill all the drones, and Navy Scythe has only one set of light drones. It has only 25 cubic meters of space in the drone bay. And after that, you just orbit 500 with Nosferatu, Scrum Web Afterburner, and occasionally you can just run your guns. But it doesn't matter, you will eventually you will win this anyway. So yeah, pretty depressing fights, pretty poorly played. But I learned a couple of interesting things that I can use in the future. So my overall impression, you heard it already. It's an okay ship, you can use it. It's not bad, but I think there are better options, at least in the current meta, dominated by Navy destroyers, like Hawk, for example. Close range Hawk I think is just better than Blaster Ishkur. So like if you want maximum efficiency for your ISK, I would go with Akatian Ishkur instead of Blaster 1. But Blaster is usable as well. Okay, next video will be about the next pick, and I will see you there. Bye bye.